Mark Richardson, Ice Hockey UK TV in association with Intermotor, all-time leader in appearances, 117 caps. There's so much to dig down and talk about, but first talk to me about how proud you've been to represent GB all this time.
I mean, it's hard to put into words, but yeah, so proud. I mean, just something that when you start playing for GB, you never think of or expect to reach. Yeah, so just immensely proud and yeah, just still love doing it.
And the fact that Jonathan Phillips, whose record you broke, was there to give that little momentum and be there for the presentation, how special was that you took it from John, and how much time you guys have spent together?
Yeah, that was really special to have John there to present it. I mean, obviously him and Matthew Myers was such a huge part of the team and where we got to, and have been a part of my whole GB journey, from day one. And yeah, to obviously overtake Matthew at the Worlds, and then and now John, it doesn't seem real. They're both such legends, and they've done so much for the GB program. So yeah, for John to be here and present me with the award meant a lot. And yeah, so again, hard to really put into words at the moment, but a very proud moment.
You maybe don't remember much about your first tournament. It was 2005. I think you scored your first GB goal in about your fourth game. I guess you don't know specifics, but can you remember much about going into that program at such? You must have been a young teenager, really.
Yeah, I think I was 18, I believe. Yeah, no, I remember it, not so vividly as a long time ago, but in Hungary there it was. Just it was for me as at that age, it was just to be playing alongside guys like Ashley Tate, Jonathan. We I think Lobby played that one possibly. It was just an amazing experience, and yeah, I remember going into that rink. I think it was the Brecon in
I
Hungary.
think so. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a lovely rink and just a great experience, And I was just so fortunate to have got to start my GB career there.
And the program has come so far since then, and we'll touch on individual moments. But in that sort of era, the team were in the third tier, second tier, mostly in that third tier. What was it like to see the program just grow, how it perhaps has done under Pete Russell in the past few years?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, as you say, I mean, coming into the program when we were in those divisions, you don't know any different, right? So the top level World Championships was never really. I don't want to say it wasn't a goal, but it wasn't a reality. It was just we were at the level we were at, and always trying to do our best. But you know, just going into every tournament was just to kind of do our best, stay up, etc. So yeah, I mean, to make that transition over the past however many years and get up to that level, not just once but numerous times. Again, it's something that I always say I don't think we really reflect on until we're done playing for a few years and think like, oh my god, like we got to play at that level. So yeah, it's something special.
Just want to move away a touch from GB, but it's a more general thing. When you came to the Panthers, Corey Nielsen turned you from a forward to defenceman. What do you think that did for your career and your international career?
Oh, I think it was huge. Again, you never know what would happen if I stayed forward, but at the time, um, I think it was the right move, and if that had never happened, who knows if we'd be sat here today? So yeah, it was huge for me, and I was able to take it and run with it, and obviously it worked out.
I mean, you're too modest to say this, so I'll say it. You're one of GB's best ever defensemen. When you were younger and you were the forward, did you ever consider that? I mean, I can't remember how the change happened. Was it something Corey came to you? Was defence ever on your mind when you were younger?
I was more of a defensive forward, I would say. So there was always that kind of like, even when I was a bit younger, could I play defence? But I mean, most young kids want to play forward and try and score the goals and whatnot. But no, it more just came about. I was at the time I was playing in Basingstoke, and some things happened where there was going to be a change of ownership and some financial kind of problems. So Corey said, we'll have you back in on him, but you're going to have to play D for a little while. And okay, I'll give it a go. And that was it really.
And what was the biggest change? Can you remember, like, obviously playing, you said you were defensive forward and really revelled in those defensive responsibilities, but, how quickly did you adapt to playing that defensive role, do you feel?
Decently quickly. I mean, it took a little while, it's obviously the difference is mainly skating backwards and just positional play, when you've played forward your whole life. But no, I was very lucky, with Corey to be taught, what to do, etc. So and guys on the team, Danny Myers, etc., gave me a lot of help. So yeah, it was pretty easy.
There's been so many magical moments in your GB career and GB in the past decade, so it'll be tough to pinpoint one or two. So I'll try and go chronologically. Let's kind of start in Pete Russell's era. That first game, I was doing some research. Pete Russell's first game, losing 2-0 to Croatia. I think it was Ben O'Connor scored. You scored with 5 seconds to go. You scored 11 seconds into overtime. We put a little piece on social media. Very young looking Richie there. I think I probably was a bit thinner. But what do you remember about that? I remember we joked at the time you weren't renowned for scoring goals. You got your 2 goals. It was funny, wasn't it? Because that was Pete's first game, and it almost set the tone for what was to follow, this unique GB team, always defying the odds, maybe.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think cram a good percentage of my GB goals into that 14 seconds or whatever it was. So, no, I think as you say, I do feel like that was a beginning of something special. Maybe we didn't know it at the time, but from being disappointed to missing out on promotion that year, and then the following 2 years kind of thing. We were just, I think I've said it before. Maybe if we would have gone up that year, we maybe would have come back down the year after. We don't know. Maybe that kind of 3 years we had to build and build was what kind of set us up for that. Getting that promotion to the top level.
And those two successive promotions in successive years, first of all on home ice in Belfast, you say you had those silver medal agonies and came home to the UK, first tournament to be held on home ice in a long time. What did it mean to you and the team to get that promotion that you'd kind of yearned for a few years in a row?
Oh, it meant everything. I think there was just a feeling that whole tournament, there was just something different about it that, some of those teams we'd had very close games with over the years, but, we were getting different results this tournament. We were dominating it, and it was just that feeling with we're doing it now kind of thing. We've had that disappointment, and now's the time to get that gold medal.
And then the momentum went into Hungary, where it was a crazy tournament. If you remember, I think on the final day, 2 teams could go up or another 2. In fact, that late goal from Farms totally flipped it on its head, didn't it? And Hungary and Kazakhstan didn't go up, and us and Italy did go up. Was there a moment, obviously, first game beat Slovenia 3-1. Was there a moment where you in particular, but you and the boys thought, hang on a minute, we're not fighting off relegation, we're looking upwards? Can you remember?
Well, as you say, I think we went into that tournament thinking, right, let's avoid relegation. It's the first time we'd been up there for a few years, and we beat Slovenia that first game, but then kind of came crashing down to earth the next game against Kazakhstan, and the way the tournament was shaping up, we go in, we win the next game. We win the next game, was all right. We've got a chance here. So yeah, it's just we've the kind of the way we've done it with GB, we never get any favors. So it was, going to that last game, gold or nothing kind of thing. So I think it suited us though, the way we play. And it was just, again, it's hard to describe. It's another thing I think you'll look back on in years to come and just think, wow, like what a moment. Because, we were playing so well, but the game wasn't going our way. And then, as you say, Robert Farmer pops up right at the end with that goal, and again, hard to describe the feeling.
Yeah, it was just an insane feeling on the bench, and on the ice. is it hitting you as a player that like what that goal means? Because we'd have all have watched from afar Canada and America, and as you said, the aim probably wasn't that years previously, and there you are in Hungary, and you're 10 seconds away. There's a couple more face-offs to come, but can you remember how it was hitting home that you were within touching distance of playing the best players in the world?
I don't think it really hit home. You know what I mean? It was just, at that tournament we were going for that gold medal kind of thing, and then what it meant we would think about later on, So I think everyone would say the same thing, the amount of times they must have watched those highlights back, and, just then you start to think, oh my gosh, like that feeling we had in that moment. And I remember after that game, still now, obviously the boys wanted to go and celebrate, but I think everyone was falling asleep. Everyone had given absolutely everything to get that gold medal.
And were you one of the guys, I can't remember, because of course there was overtime to play. Did you stay on the bench, or there was a handful that went on and took the gloves? I can't remember.
So I was on the ice, and I think it was me and John both threw our helmets and gloves, and then we were kind of like looking around, and everyone was shouting at us like, "No, we got to play overtime," kind of thing.
Must have been the best overtime ever.
Oh yeah, it was. It was the most relaxed overtime and penalty shootout I think I'd ever been involved in. But I remember John and I kind of looking at each other like, we don't really know what to do right now. So no, it was again, like I couldn't describe what I was feeling, but we were pretty happy.
And just a couple of questions about that top flight world championship. Again, stepping onto the ice against the best teams in the world, probably the Canada game, no disrespect to Germany, who are a great nation. The glamour game came in the second one against Canada. How did it feel? Because you guys were playing against some of the best players in the world. How did that feel as people from Great Britain? As we know, people write us up, but we always upset the odds. How did that feel to play some of those guys that you did in the first year?
Oh, again, amazing. I'll always remember we went out for warm-up, and I guess in the NHL they only have a 15-minute warm-up. So we were on the ice for 5 minutes, and then we're all kind of like, like, are they coming? And, like, looking around, and when we get to play against those teams, I mean, all those teams, like you say, Canada, US, Czech, Finland, Sweden, etc. Like, it's just you want to give your all, because one, if you don't give your all, then it's going to be a long night. But just to show that we can go up, and we know how good they are, but just to go out and compete against them it's amazing.
And then to defy the odds in that final game against France, 3-0 down, you bring it back to 3-3, the goal in overtime. How as a team can you do that? Because it's insane if you look at it. 2 goals, and I think it was 15 seconds to go 3-0 down. Pete calls his timeout. I guess I'm asking a couple of questions in one here. Can you remember what Pete said? And then, secondly, is how did you find it as a team to be able to complete that comeback?
I can't remember exactly what Pete said, but I'm pretty sure it's along the lines of, just obviously believing in each other and playing our game, and that's when we're at our best. And it's something funny about the Great Britain national team that I think kind of separates from a lot of teams, is just that togetherness, that like belief in each other. And it was like, right, we're 3-0 down, we got nothing to lose, and kind of go for it. And that comeback, you can't really describe. It was just one of the most amazing games I think you could be a part of, and at that level of world championships too. And again, I think the boys probably watched that back, a million times after the tournament, just to believe it happened.
Yeah, I love asking this question. I love debating this question. It's which was better, Hungary or Slovakia? Now I always say Hungary just ahead of Slovakia, and my reason for that is because it was about the moment that meant that you were going to this top flight that we'd all dreamed of. But then very close second, Slovakia, because you defied the odds. People from outside of GB probably expected us to go down. The way you did it was so special. So put you on the spot. If you had to pick one, which one are you choosing?
Again, as you say, I think it's very hard to choose, but I think I'd agree with you in terms of obviously if that one in Hungary doesn't happen, then the next one doesn't happen, kind of thing. So maybe that just edges it forward a bit. And that was the same thing. No one expected us to go to Hungary that year and win a medal, let alone, the gold medal. So, Yeah, I think that probably does just edge it a little bit, but not by much.
Let's talk about Nottingham now. The victory on home ice to go back up to the top flight. Again, another special moment. It's in front of a crowd. There was 6,000, nearly 6,500 people, GB fans, on that final day to see you beat Italy. You know, how special was that moment? That not abroad, which is great, but to see that support, which you can see has built over the years. How special was that to do that on home ice?
Yeah, that was amazing. I think again, same situation. There was no favors for us. We went into that last game having to win. There was no, oh, we've secured promotion or anything like that. So again, maybe that suited us because to go in that with that mentality was the right one for us. And it was an emotional night. Obviously, it was going to be John's last game, etc. So yeah, it was just one of those games that, again, you had that feeling a bit like the Belfast tournament, that we're going to do this, and you never doubted that once, before the game, during the game, and yeah, what an amazing feeling to win on home ice with that many fans cheering us on. It's really special.
Just explain it as a whole about GB in the top flight and the years that the team has been there, how proud everyone is to see the improvement in performances. Okay, we've not always stayed up, but you look at the way games against Denmark are closer. It's just that's one example. Getting that first regulation time win against Belarus in the pandemic year, beating Austria on the final game this year. There's many moments as well. Getting an overtime point. I think against Denmark it was in the pandemic year. Those nations again that seem so long a way away, and just the way that the team has just built it year on year and almost shows how much they belong there. I guess my question is, how good has it been to see the development of how you can now match these nations much more closer?
Oh, definitely. I think obviously the first time we went into that tournament, some of the results kind of reflected the fact that it was new to us and we didn't know what to expect. And, I think that's coaches, players, everyone, and them being able to go and look at that, and see what we need to do to improve on to play against these teams. And the coaches did their work, and then the players have done their work to play those systems. And it's shown that when we do it right, we can compete with them. And, as you say, to see that change and that, improvement over those years and some of those moments you mentioned, like being Belarus, like people might say no one was getting relegated that year, but they were trying to beat us as much as they were trying to beat them. So to have those results, and again, I mean, the last World Championships might have been some of the best hockey we played over all the World Championships. And unfortunately, we were relegated. But it just shows how much we've improved.
We talk often about the GB family inside the room and the GB staff and players, but I kind of want to push you on your family and the journey they've been on. I think one of my abiding favourite memories is Nottingham again, when after the game, because obviously on home ice there was more, that ice was just full of players, families, and it was just such a lovely moment to see that reflection. What's the journey been like for you and your family to get to this point, and how supportive have they been?
Well, yeah, I wanted to touch on this, firstly, my parents, my mum and my late father, Dave. Unfortunately, I don't think got to see any games for GB over my career, but if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have got one cap, so I'm very thankful, and I'm sure he'd be very, very proud. And then my wife and Sarah and daughter Grace, I think people don't understand it's a huge commitment. You think almost 20 odd years or whatever, 20 years of doing this kind of thing, how many days that is away, and without their support, without my wife's support holding down the fort at home, and my daughter's support, it wouldn't be possible to have got to where I am now. So truly thankful to all my family, and yeah, it was I was lucky enough that they were able to come out to Slovakia the first year and watch a few games there, so that was really special. But yeah, you can't do it without your family's support. So I'm really grateful. And then, that goes for not just family. You talk about GB family as well. I mean, over the years, like all the players I've got to play with, all the management, coaches, staff. Like it's just that's what makes it what it is. Like you're not coming here to earn money. You're not coming here. You're coming here for the pride. And if it wasn't so enjoyable and around so many good people, then you wouldn't do it for this long.
Well, what a lovely way to end, Richie. Listen, it's been an honour to watch you play and to see you on this journey. Thank you for taking time to talk to us, and I hope we get to see a bit more of you yet before you finish. But for now, thanks a lot, Richie.
Thank you.